In the headlines, court voids Kogi APC delegates list for forthcoming governorship primary election. INEC fixes Saturday for supplementary election in Rivers. Final year student mobbed to death for alleged theft in Obafemi Awolowo University. On the international scene, 11 dead from Marburg virus in Equatorial Guinea. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. Now the news in full. A court in Abuja has voided the February 7, 2023 list of delegates submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, by the All Progressives Congress APC in Kogi State for its forthcoming governorship primary election. Justice James Omotosho, in a judgment on Wednesday, held that there was no evidence before the court to show that valid special ward congresses were held from which the said delegates emerged. Justice Omotosho also noted that the party failed to provide credible evidence that INEC monitored the said congress or congresses from which the names on the said delegates list were derived. The judge, who restrained INEC from accepting and acting on the said delegates list, said the APC in Kogi State still has an opportunity with the existing time frame to conduct valid special ward congresses to elect delegates who will elect the party's candidate for the governorship election. Alternatively, the judge said the APC in Kogi could opt for any other mode of electing its candidate for the governorship election should it decide not to conduct valid special ward congresses as ordered by the court. Also, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it would hold supplementary election in Port Harcourt 2 and Gokana federal constituencies on Saturday, April 15, 2023. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the resident electoral commissioner REC in Rivers, Johnson Sinikem. According to the REC, the election will commence at 8:30 a.m. in the LGAs and registration areas. He noted that election will be held at Kana wards 04 and 07 across 42 polling units in Port Harcourt. Sinikem explained that election will be held in 377 polling units within wards 05, 10 and 28. Assuring commitment of the INEC in the supplementary poll, the REC urged voters from affected areas to come out en masse and exercise their franchise on Saturday. Also, Senate spokesperson Ajibola Bashiru says the leadership of the All Progressive Congress APC will take a decision on zoning the leadership of the 10th National Assembly at the end of the Ramadan fast. According to him, some of the parameters to be considered for the emergence of the next Senate President and the next Speaker of the House of Representatives include ranking, competence, capacity, religion, zonal contribution to the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the February 25th presidential poll, among others. The APC won majority of the legislative seats during the elections with over 55 Senate seats out of the 109 and over 160 out of 360 House of Representatives seats. Many APC chieftains and legislative member-elect expressed interest in the highly coveted positions in the red and green chamber. And also, the Benue State government has suspended the operations of the Livestock Guards, the state paramilitary agency tasked with the responsibility of enforcing the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law of 2017 for a period of 2 weeks to allow all herdsmen with livestock within Benue territory to exit. Governor Samuel Otom, who disclosed this at the end of the State Security Council meeting in the wake of the killing of over 130 persons within 1 week. The move is to show good faith to all those who claimed to have come into the state without knowing there is a law prohibiting open grazing. He also said security agencies in the state has confirmed the receipt of President Muhammadu Buhari's directive to fish out perpetrators of the mass killings across the state, a duty he said the security agencies should act fast on to bring victims of the attack some form of justice. Also, Okolia Hinze, a 500-level student of the Obafemi Awolowo University OAU Ile-Ife, has been beaten to death over alleged theft. It was gathered that the deceased was beaten to death inside the Awo Hall of the university. The student was said to have been rushed to the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Ile-Ife after complications, but doctors on duty confirmed him dead when he was brought to the accident and emergency unit of the hospital. The student was alleged to have stolen a mobile phone at the Awo Hall. The management of the school has condemned in strong terms the incident that led to the death of the Part 5 student of the institution. A release by the public relations officer of the university, Abiodun Olariwaju, stated that a preliminary investigation revealed that the student died of a mob action on the allegation that he stole a phone. Saddened by the development, which he described as unfortunate, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Adebayo Bamire, set up a committee to unravel the circumstances which led to the incident. Also, no fewer than 12 people have reportedly died in a ghastly motor accident in Ebonyi State. It was gathered that the tragic incident happened at Ezilo in Ishelu local government area of the state, along the ever-busy Enugu-Abakaliki highway. The Federal Road Safety Commission FRSC Sector Commander Uche Chukura, who confirmed the incident, said the road crashes happened at about 10 a.m. on Tuesday, saying the accident involved an unmarked truck and a white shuttle bus with registration number EBJ 350XA. The FRSC boss said 10 females and 2 males on board were among the deceased. Chukura said the 2 injured passengers were receiving treatment at Alex Ekweme Federal University Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki. And in security, the Osun State Police Command has arrested a 40-year-old man, Oladipupo Maruf, for allegedly stealing a vehicle. The black Lexus 330 Jeep was stolen from one Igwe Odinaka at Obosi in Idemiri South local government area of Anambra State. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Kehinde Longe, confirmed that the suspect was arrested with the car in Ilesha. The police chief said the owner of the vehicle was shot in the stomach when his car was stolen from him. He said the suspect was apprehended upon credible intelligence received that the vehicle was seen along Ijebu-Ijesha Road. The policeman attached to A Division, Ilesha, on patrol intercepted the vehicle driven by Oladipupo. The suspect was arrested and the vehicle recovered to the station for further investigation. Also, a Grade 1 area court in Karu, Abuja, ordered that Haruna Aminu and Haruna Ayuba be remanded in a correctional center for allegedly beating up a police sergeant. The police charged Aminu and Ayuba with criminal conspiracy, causing hurt and theft. The defendants, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. The judge, Umar Mayana, deferred bail for the defendant and adjourned the case until April 19 for ruling. Mayana ordered that the defendants be remanded in Kefi Correctional Center pending investigation. Earlier, the prosecution counsel, Olarewaju Osho, told the court that the matter was reported by Sergeant Umar Bello, attached to Asokoro Police Station, Abuja. Osho told the court that on February 27, the defendants beat up the complainant with sticks. As a result of that, he said the complainant sustained injuries on different parts of his body. The defendant, he said, stole his Infinix phone worth 35,000 naira and police belt worth 6,000 naira. He said that during the police investigation, the defendants confessed to the crime. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at ways domestic violence can be minimized. This and more when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now, a recap of some of our major stories. Court voids Kogi APC delegates list for forthcoming governorship primary election. Also, INEC fixes Saturday for supplementary election in Rivers. To other stories now, fire has destroyed property worth millions of naira at the headquarters of the Katsina State Education Trust Fund. The fire, which gutted the computer hall, registry and the office of the executive secretary, started at around 8 p.m. and the blaze was eventually put out after 3 hours by a joint team of Good Samaritans and officials of the State Fire Service. Abdullahi Yamadi was there and now reports.
A visit to the scene of the fire incident reveals that staff and other officials of the Education Trust Fund are still counting losses.
But we can see the main server of electricity into the secretariat starts from here. So the incident starts from here. That's our assumption and the assumption of the general public.
The cause of the inferno may be electricity faults occasioned by frequent power outages.
There is no even relationship between the fire outbreak and our own supply, because each customer, whether individual, industrial, or commercial, they're supposed to have their own safety relays. They're supposed to have their own safety relays. So even at the small houses, there is something we call this circuit breaker or cut out. I know normally our customers know cut out. So if there is any high voltage or any unstable supply, it will cut the supply. It won't enter the house or the premises.
Officials are worried because all the archives of the Education Trust Fund have been destroyed and most of the lost data cannot be retrieved. This building was commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari in 1998 when he was the chairman of the now defunct Petroleum Trust Fund (PTF). The objective of the structure was to complement government efforts in developing education. Observers are concerned about the neglect that the Education Trust Fund has suffered from the successive administrations since then and are calling on the incoming administration to rehabilitate the building and ensure its effective utilization. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The social media has been agog since Monday evening by the violent torture of a woman by a man. The police have responded swiftly and have arrested the culprit, who is now facing prosecution. Jimmy Adzande, who has been closely following the case, now reports.
Uncle!
According to police sources, the culprit is in custody and will be charged to court immediately. Aside from his arrest and detention, some Acadians have been speculating on what could have triggered such violence.
It's a accumulation of anger. The anger is accumulated there, and then if you don't bring it out.
Also, 70% of the operational cost of most poultry, aquaculture, and other livestock operations are taken up by animal feed. Sadly, Nigeria's animal feed sector remains underdeveloped, largely due to high production costs. Stakeholders are seeking to improve the fortunes of operators in the industry by tackling the challenges which has limited the expansion of Nigeria's animal feed sector. Noel Sampson has more on this report.
Nigeria is the 40th leading country in livestock feed production in the world. The sector has the potential to do much more if it is able to harness alternative food resources for food production of animal feed.
In any kind of animal husbandry, one very important aspect of it is that you are able to feed the animals. And we are talking about food security and nutrition security for humans. Equally, we'll have to do the same for the animals because they are what we consume. And if we don't feed them well, they get sick and we consume, we might end up getting sick. And it's very important that we go and look for alternative sources of feed, not just the usual grass.
Livestock production, as we all know, represents most of our protein intake in Nigeria. And protein is very important for growth. Whether you're talking about children, whether you're talking about pregnant women, in general, it's very important for our development as a people and for our health as a people. So it's all connected. And part of the job of the media, which you and I represent, is to help set the agenda for what is important, what is in the public interest.
But it doesn't stop at improving on the world ranking. Expanding Nigeria's animal feed sector will not only boost production levels, but will also improve the lot of the country's livestock consumers.
The same ingredient that human beings consume are the same ingredient we are using to produce animal feed. The prices are so high that when we use them to produce animals, the cost of the end product is too high for the people to afford. That's why the egg is expensive in the market. That's why a kilogram of meat today is between 2,500 and 500 naira.
We talk about unemployment in the country. So once we intensify, it will generate, people say agriculture can generate employment. It's a fact. But the kind of employment that we really need, it has to do with processing and intensification. The time bomb of unemployment are those semi-skilled. When I say semi-skilled, I'm talking about graduates or those who have NCE, OND, HND, the first degree. These are the time bomb. They are a bit skilled, but not very skilled. But those are the people we really need in processing.
The animal feed sector in Nigeria is estimated at about more than $2 billion. It continues to attract significant local and foreign investment in large-scale feed mill operations and could be another major source of employment if improved on. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And to the international scene now, a new provisional death toll from the Marburg virus outbreak that has been raging for nearly 3 months in Equatorial Guinea has risen to 11 confirmed deaths, according to a new health ministry report. The last death recorded by the authorities was due to the epidemic of this virus cousin of Ebola and almost as deadly as it was on April 3rd. Causes of the hemorrhagic fever have spread from the eastern province of Ki-Intem, where it caused the first known death on January 7, to Bata, the economic capital of the small Central African country, where 9 cases have been confirmed, according to authorities. WHO announced the deployment of additional experts and said it was also helping Gabon and Cameroon to strengthen preparedness and response to the outbreak. There is no approved vaccine or antiviral treatment for the virus. However, supportive care, oral and intravenous rehydration, and treatment of specific symptoms increase the chances of survival. Also, a firing incident has killed 4 army personnel at a military station in the Indian border state of Punjab. the military station located about 280 kilometers, about 175 miles north of the capital, New Delhi, houses mostly families and soldiers and is a residential army base. Indian media reports quoted state police officers as saying that the incident in the army camp bordering Pakistan did not appear to be a terror attack. The shooting took place as the state was on high security alert a day ahead of the Baisakhi, a large Sikh and Hindu festival marking the start of the harvesting season. Punjab has also been on the edge since last month when authorities launched a manhunt for firebrand Sikh separatist preacher Amritpal Singh. Singh has in recent months rallied a huge following by demanding the creation of Khalistan, a separate Sikh homeland, the struggle for which caused deadly violence in Punjab in the 1980s and 1990s. He remains at large despite a huge dragnet involving thousands of police officers and a statewide internet shutdown that lasted for several days. The base was sealed off and a joint investigation with the local police was underway. Still on the foreign news, protesters disrupted French President Emmanuel Macron's speech in the Netherlands about Europe's future as he faces mass protests over pension reform back home. Security officials detained a demonstrator who shouted at Macron outside Amsterdam University on Wednesday in the latest disturbance during the French president's state visit to the Netherlands. France's leader is confronting the biggest challenge of his second term after pushing through his flagship pension overhaul, which includes raising the retirement age from 62 years to 64. The protesters gathered in an upper tier of the theater in The Hague, and shouted, "You have millions of protesters in the streets," while holding up a banner that reads, "President of Violence and Hypocrisy." And in sports, the potential sale of Manchester United has gone to a third round of bidding. Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim and Ineos owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe both submitted a second bid to buy the Old Trafford club last month, with Finnish entrepreneur Thomas Zilikos also saying he had submitted a bid. The Glazer family, who bought the club for £790 million in 2005, announced they were considering selling in November. The Americans have established a valuation of £5 billion to £6 billion for United. The second stage ended last month with uncertainty over whether the process had reached the point of exclusivity being granted. Still on the Old Trafford, Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford will be out for a few games with a muscle injury. The 25-year-old England international left the field holding his groin during the second half of United's win over Everton on Saturday. United did not give a specific timeline for his return, but said he is expected to play again this season. Rashford, who has scored 28 times this season, has played in all of United's league games. His side play Sevilla in the Europa League quarter-final first leg on Thursday at Old Trafford. And in basketball, LeBron James led the LA Lakers into the NBA playoffs with a dramatic comeback win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. James scored 30 points as the Lakers overturned a 15-point deficit to win the playoff in March 108-102 in overtime. The Lakers made their worst start to a season for 65 years by losing their first 5 games, but will now play with the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs. In an action-packed finale, Dennis Schroeder, who scored a 21-point for Los Angeles, scored a 3-pointer with 1.4 seconds left in regulation time to give the Lakers a 98-95 lead. But Anthony Davis fouled Mike Conley as the Minnesota guard shot with 0.1 seconds to play, allowing Conley to make 3 free throws to take the game to overtime. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.